From the shadows of the National Palace.
From the muddy trenches of politics, this is the Pigsty, the pig pen of politics. Concha Morano.
Greetings, dear inhabitants of the national mud. Welcome once again to the Pigsty, the pig pen of politics, the only corner of the internet where we don't wipe our hooves before coming in. Because let's be honest, the filth was already here when we arrived. I am your host, your spiritual guide in the mud, your pig of distrust, Chamorano. Make yourselves comfortable, grab your bucket of rotten corn, and get ready. Because today the political menu is loaded with what we like the most. Simulation, lazy bureaucracy, crude oil decorating our beaches, and a scent of palace-style exposure, and cutting-edge technology or tiptoeing technology, because reality has already slipped in through the window. Step into this corner of filth where the truth reeks more than the subway bathrooms. During rush hour, grab your popcorn, because here begins today's report, May 24th, March 2026. Optimists say that time heals everything, but that's a lie in Mexican politics. Time only serves for the same old ideas to come back with a different name and a new font color. Today we woke up to some news gems that show that if there's one thing we know how to do in this mess, it's recycle the mud and pretend it's premium mud. Let's begin. Let's start with what's happening in the Senate with our honorable and distinguished members of the upper house. They decided it was time to earn their parliamentary salary and started discussing Plan B of the electoral reform. Yes, once again, it's the eternal return of the same thing, like a low-budget movie they show on Sunday afternoons. What's this new legislative masterpiece about, pushed by the ruling party's steamroller and their progressive turnout and Green Party sidekicks? A shout-out to the Green Party, by the way, the true chameleons of political survival. Would they survive a nuclear apocalypse eating only plastic and perks? Anyway, the main point of this circus is that they want to negotiate whether or not to move up the recall vote, whether it stays for the end of 2027 or they move it to 2028. And the thing is, these two parasites from the progressive turnout and the Green Party are not willing to accept that the recall vote takes place during the same midterm elections in 2027. That's exactly what's making the welfare maid and her gang of mobsters itch in the butt. And of course, what this country needs isn't medicine or pothole-free roads or police who don't extort people. No, what this country urgently needs is to spend millions of pesos on a vote to ask ourselves if the current ruler is incompetent enough. It's the ultimate fantasy of political ego, mobilizing the entire machinery of the state, so that the wise people give them a pat on the back and say, "Yes, little one, you're doing an incredible job. Stay for another 3 years, and if things go wrong, don't worry. We can always count on the corrupt Instituto Nacional Electoral, which will make sure the result is whatever suits those in power best." We already know the script by heart. In Spanish, vulgar, really vulgar. And here, cover your innocent ears, it's all just bullshit. Another gem of this Plan B is their sudden concern about technology. The legislators got really modern and decided they're going to regulate the use of artificial intelligence, AI, in campaigns, and to ban bot armies. Please, I laugh in pig. Let me get this straight. The same politicians who don't even know how to attach a PDF file to an email. Now they're going to legislate about deep learning algorithms, neural networks, and deepfakes. They want to ban bots. Bots make up half of their follower base on social media. If you remove the bots and paid accounts from Mexican politics, our leaders' social media would be lonelier than a bookstore in Tabasco. How are they going to monitor that? Are they going to send the National Guard to arrest the ChatGPT servers? It's the classic pulling the wool over our eyes, but digital, pretending to regulate the future while still doing politics with 19th century practices. They also want to remove the proportional representation deputies, which is a common promise. What's happening with the Dominican government's economic system? What if they make it a new system? What's going on with the economy? The only one who benefits from this happening is called Morena. Well, if it happens, it would suffocate the rest of the parties and leave the way open for them to become the only party. That's exactly why the so-called Plan B has been dubbed the Maduro Law. Let's see how this mess ends, because the president and that other idiot, Ricardo Monreal, keep threatening and beating up, especially the progressive turnout, saying that if they don't vote in favor, the devil without pants will show up for them. Anyway, but let's leave the Senate's air conditioning and travel to the paradisiacal and now greasy Gulf of Mexico. Today, at Mrs. Claudia Scheinbaum's morning press conference, a topic was brought up that should have all of us on edge, if we're not already stiff from the oil. The oil spill off the coasts of Campeche, Veracruz, and Tabasco. Where is this oil that's killing marine life and ruining tourism coming from? Ah, a mystery of quantum physics. Everything points to it coming from the Dos Bocas refinery. That grand project, which cost 3 times as much, took twice as long, and floods at the slightest provocation. But in the wonderful world of the government, nobody knows, nobody knew. The oil simply sprang from the ground by spontaneous generation. Thinking about going to the beach during Holy Week? What was the government's solution? Congratulations, you guessed it. Create a committee, an interdisciplinary group in Mexico. When you don't want to solve a problem, you create a commission. You put a bunch of dumb bureaucrats, sorry for the redundancy, at a table with animal crackers and instant coffee to analyze the situation. Meanwhile, the oil keeps happily floating toward the shore. The most shameless part of the statement is that they say some areas are already suitable for fishing. Wonderful. I can already imagine the menu at the seafood restaurants in Veracruz. Veracruz-style red snapper with a touch of diesel, shrimp cocktail with a Pemex Magna flavor, flambéed snook, literally, because you light it and bring a match close to it. What a delight. It's an ecological tragedy of biblical proportions, but the official narrative treats it as if it were just a minor domestic setback. Don't worry, citizens. We've already sent a group of biologists to talk to the oil spills and politely ask them to leave our national beaches. And as for finding those responsible or fining state-owned company leaders, let's not even mention it. Now let's move on to the mystery of the balcony between artificial intelligence and natural stupidity. It turns out that in the kingdom of post-truth, where they tell us that air is nutritious and gasoline is an artisanal perfume, they've just given us a new dose. Don't believe what your eyes see, believe what I tell you. It all started with an image that, in any country with an ounce of seriousness, would have just been a tabloid anecdote. A woman completely at ease, leaning out on a balcony, but not just any balcony, not the balcony of the National Palace. The house that, as they swore to us by the Virgin of Guadalupe, was supposed to be the temple of austerity. And the people's house, well, in that people's house, it seems there are very important person guests who don't need to wait in line or bring signs, much less demand teaching positions. As soon as the video started circulating and causing that characteristic discomfort in official circles, the cavalry jumped in. And not just any cavalry, but the very apparatus for detecting infodemics, led by the inimitable Genaro Villamil. With the speed of someone trying to cover a pothole with a napkin, they let us have it. The verdict is artificial intelligence, according to the official narrative. What you saw, that lady sunbathing as if she were on the terrace of a hotel in Acapulco, was nothing more than an optical illusion, a digital deception, a deep fake, designed by the dark forces of conservatism to destabilize the peace of mind of Claudia Milagro. It's a hologram. But, oh surprise, the mud in this pigsty is sticky and the truth has a way of not staying locked up. Too bad that for the official version, a glitch appeared in the Matrix. A teacher, a citizen, one of those who doesn't have a spot on the social communications payroll.
Ni sabe qué es un algoritmo de renderizado.
She was there, down there, in the main square, where the sun burns and the ground is hard. And since nobody told her that what she was seeing was a quantum projection, She had the crazy idea to use the zoom on her phone. And it wasn't just her. Videos started popping up like mushrooms in manure, different angles, different phones, and the same woman closing the window. As soon as she realized that the teacher was also recording her out of austerity, it's a computer-generated avatar. That image that went all over the internet gives us the perfect picture. Two Mexicos, the one above with a breeze and the one below with fences. What really turns our stomachs in this pigsty isn't that a lady leans out on the balcony to tan her chicken legs. After all, power has always had its courtiers. What is outrageous is the arrogance of denial. While above, life is beautiful, windows are closed, and the peace of historic walls is enjoyed, below, reality is a wall of metal. Below are the searching mothers who don't even get a hello from that same balcony. Below are the citizens begging for crumbs of justice, while above someone stretches out with the elegance of someone who knows they are untouchable. It's the most outdated contrast in Mexican politics. The speech of "we are all equal" stands in front of the image of "I'm in the palace and you're behind the fence." And when they get caught in the act, their response is to treat us as if we all had the intelligence quotient of a microbe. That's not true, it's artificial intelligence. We are facing the dictatorship of the official algorithm. If the government can decide what is real and what is AI, based solely on its own convenience, then we're screwed. Tomorrow they'll tell us that inflation is an Excel error and that insecurity is a poorly rendered 3D animation. The balcony video is a symptom of a bigger disease, total disconnection. They've locked themselves up in their palace so much that they don't even know how to keep up appearances anymore. And worst of all, they think that with a tweet from Villamil, reality will just disappear. But that's exactly why they have their bootlicking lackeys, because they help with the presidential circus in the mud. Just think about the little gem we pulled off today. It turns out that one of the many narco-apologists, my almost twin, the pig Vicente Serrano, always so servile, always a doormat, handed Chachis the juicy gossip that she skillfully wrote about in one of her columns on a silver platter, Pascal Beltrán del Rio. Yes. About that video of the mysterious woman sunbathing her legs, completely carefree on the balcony of the National Palace. And what do you think Shine Baltrufia did? Pure Olympic gymnastics, my friends. That nervous giggle you get when you're caught red-handed or in your corruption. The old reliable move, instead of saying whether it's true or a lie, she used the morning press conference manual and pulled out the "and why don't they talk about the Institutional Revolutionary Party in '68 and Garcia Luna and the National Action Party?" She ended up talking about polls just to avoid saying a word about the video. Here's the moment which I wish was uncomfortable, but this is already bordering on the absurd and even comical.
Says Pascal Beltrán del Rio. The Institutional Revolutionary Party and the National Action Party did a lot of unspeakable things when they were in government, but back then you never saw anyone sunbathing their legs in a palace window. Any response? Thank you very much.
And what do you say about the Institutional Revolutionary Party in '68? And what do you say about the war against the narcos? And what do you say about Cedilla's repressions? And what do you say about the 500 deaths under Salinas? And what do you say about Fox's violation of democracy? What do you say about Peña's corruption? I mean, honestly, because in that case, you keep quiet.
Just to make an observation.
By the way, taking advantage of the moment, I just remembered. What did you think about the fact that the National Action Party is now going to choose its candidates through a survey? It's good after so many years criticizing Morena.
This is further proof that silence smells like reality. Look, here at El Chiquero, we know that silence means consent. He neither denied nor clarified, he just dodged the question like a carnival carousel. If that video were a setup or an invention by the conservative right, the lady would have raised hell in that very instant. But no, she preferred to do a triple somersault with a twist to land on her feet on the topic of the opposition, and that's it. To top it off, here comes the dirty detail. Because of the physical resemblance, the bearing, so to speak, and the confidence of walking around as if he were in his own backyard, more and more people with forked tongues are saying that woman tanning her calves is none other than Mrs. Ani Pardo Samo, the mother of the very person in question. Who knows, the National Palace turned into the royal family's beach club. What's next? A jacuzzi in the presidential office? Maybe it already exists. And here I am saying it as a joke. That's how things are in this beautiful country, my little piggies. In the Senate, they're risking democracy with laws they barely understand. And out at sea, we're gambling with the fate of ecosystems, with refineries that don't work like they should. They treat us to a pitiful spectacle from the balcony of the National Palace. I tell you, Mexican surrealism knows no limits. It's the never-ending cycle of Mexican politics. Promise the sky, pass useless laws, create commissions to investigate the disasters we ourselves caused, blame the past, repeat. But don't worry, that's what I'm here for, to wallow in this filth and chew it up so you don't get such a bad case of indigestion. At the end of the day, what is Mexican politics? Nothing but a gigantic pigsty where we all end up stained. And with this, my dear little piggies of the internet, we wrap up today's edition of The Pigsty, the Pigpen of Politics. My throat already hurts from so much grunting and my stomach from so much anger. Remember to wash your hands but not your conscience, because that one gets cleaned on its own with the next political scandal that will come out tomorrow morning. Next time you see something strange, don't trust your senses. It's better to wait for the government to send you the manual on what's real and what's fiction. Subscribe, like, and share this crappy video with your uncles, the ones who argue about politics in the family WhatsApp group, defending these jerks. And let me know in the comments, what do you prefer? A campaign bot that lies to you in chat, or a fried fish that tastes like oil? Do you think Mrs. Annie already bought her sunscreen and charged it to the O? That's it. It's just the press being spiteful. I'll read all your comments while I take a good mud bath. See you in the next mud pit. I'm Luis Berman. Goodbye.
This is La Posilga, the pigsty of politics with Louis Berman.
Don't forget to subscribe.